The Super Bowl is just around the corner, and I've decided to build the entire stadium in Bloxburg. This 100% plot data $2 million stadium turned out insane. Make sure to watch till the end to see the insane results of this realistic NFL Super Bowl stadium. And what better way to start than with a nice, calm layout. To do this stadium, I decided I was going to utilize the basement to kind of give more layers to my build and just to make the inside look a little bit more layered and stacked, especially with the seating. But it was extremely difficult, and I definitely did not have enough space to incorporate all of the seating. But I think you will see at the end that the seating that I did end up doing was super nice and actually looked really nice build. So yeah, this was the original plan for the seating. Those like floors that you see, that was like where I was going to put the stacks of seating. And I was it wasn't bad, but with the way that the exterior had to be done, it just didn't end up working just because it was humongous, like it was huge. So you'll see that I'm mapping this out and it looks kind of more like a rectangle right now, but you'll see very soon that I round these corners out just a little bit more so that it looks a little more circular. In real life, it's closer to a circle, and then it has this bottom part that's kind of like a block. And then the rest of it is like this weird dome shape where it kind of curves in and then back up into a dome. So if you don't know, the stadium I'm building is the Caesars Superdome. And I think it used to be called the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Anyways, it's where the New Orleans Saints play if you're a fan of them. There you go. But yeah, that's where the Super Bowl is going to be this year. I'm not excited for the Super Bowl. I'm not even sure if I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. Just not really a fan of the teams in the Super Bowl, but I think I will end up watching it. So let me know if you guys are also planning on watching it, and let me know who you're rooting for down in the comments below. I will be a little bit upset if I hear one over the other, because I actually won't care. But I'm not a big fan of the teams that ended up in the Super Bowl this year. So hopefully next year there's some better teams. I know who I'm rooting for. Anyways, I've never actually built a stadium before, not on this scale anyways, and I figured it would be a super interesting build to try. And you'll see here I'm using this thing called the sandbox method, which is basically how you can copy and paste seats. I mean, pretty much you can copy paste almost anything using the sandboxes, because for some reason it doesn't stay on a basic shape, but it stays on the sandbox. And for the stadium, I did watch, I think it was Float had a tutorial. It's Floaty. You've definitely heard about Floaty. He had a tutorial on stadiums, and it wasn't really a tutorial, more like a walkthrough, kind of just showcasing what you can do. And that definitely inspired me to go ahead and build my first stadium using his methods here. So big shout out to him. I really liked the methods he showed, and I tried utilizing them in this build as well. And hopefully you'll see that that I did a pretty good job with it. I think. So yeah. Other than that, we're just finishing up these seats, which you'll see at the end of it are actually completely copy and pasteable. Like I can literally copy and paste all of the chairs, everything. So very useful. You'll also notice that I'm using kids chairs. One reason was they just looked cooler. I think these ones look really nice and realistic, and that's kind of like how the seats at a stadium would look. But also just because the more chairs there are, the bigger the rest of the stadium is going to look. So everything kind of just turns out better, I think. I don't know if that's like completely true, but I did kind of follow that philosophy, and I think it did make the lower section look a lot bigger than it really was. Because the upper section you'll see I used like real chairs, like I didn't use the kids chairs, and it looked a little like smaller, it looked tiny, but I used some big chairs, so that's probably why. And of course, you'll see I did also make those copy and pasteable as well. You might be wondering why this is taking so long, but this is a pretty much the biggest part of the build is this, and it can take a while. So you'll see here now, I've got pretty much every piece done, and I can just copy and paste them, which is so cool. Watch this. Like, watching chairs get copy and pasted is so awesome. Like, that is pretty crazy. And honestly, it's not very hard to do. I'd say it's actually a lot easier to do than most people think. You kind of just hover over the you place your sandbox, hover over it with your whatever you're trying to copy, right? Place it on the sandbox, but then like hold down Control Z so the sandbox goes back to its original position, and then the chair or whatever you're trying to place kind of stays there. And that's pretty much the process. I definitely explained it very poorly, but hopefully you kind of understand. And moving on, we're working on the field now. My favorite part, easily, which also I think turned out the best and most realistic. And it was pretty expensive, but I used these basic shapes to line up where the, I guess like the field markings are. I don't even know what they're called, like the hash marks in the center of the field. Jeez, I play football. Anyways, yeah, I used these and they were expensive as heck, but I didn't really know what else to use. I could use structurals, which is what I ended up using for like literally the rest of the field details, but I had already done those, so it was like, oh, well, whatever. Anyways, I'm working on these sidelines here. The scale is kind of off. It's kind of hard to make it like perfectly to scale. Like this sideline is kind of small, but if you look in comparison to like the football field itself, it's actually not very small and it kind of works. But making all the little like you'll see, I'm not sure, like these like out of bounds and like just these random lines on the ground was pretty difficult. I couldn't get it perfect. I couldn't get like both sides to look the exact same. And I realized midway through, it's actually because of the floor. So if you don't know, like the floor not being a perfect square will end up making it so you place things on it that aren't like perfectly aligned to the grid. It's like one side was super easy to do and was aligned to the grid, and the other side wasn't. But I persevered. I think I removed the floor and added a new one just so I could get all of them in correctly. And then we move on and we're going to finish these corner pieces, which were pretty difficult. I'd say the most difficult part of the seating was the corner pieces, only because like I wanted the chairs to face forward, but I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be like a good level. And I ended up kind of scrapping the chairs facing forward thing. I just knew it wasn't really going to work. And besides, it's kind of a better view if you're turned. And I think in a real stadium, you would be turned. So I was like, yeah, let me just make sure they're turned. It's going to look better that way. And then, of course, we're going to utilize the sandbox to, again, place all of these chairs and be able to copy and paste them. Pretty cool. This does take a while, though, because, again, one side is completely different from the other side. Because, yes, I can copy and paste the right side of it onto all the right sides, but it can't be on the left side because it's a diagonal. So I had to redo everything on the left side, which actually didn't take very long, and it was a pretty smooth process. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it for the corner pieces, which I was proud of. And then I'm doing these little things like the tarp covers. Now that I think about it, I probably should have put the logo or something like, but it's like not, it's for the Super Bowl, so I probably should have put like the Super Bowl logo, but that's alright. Anyways, I'm just fixing up some little details here. I know I accidentally forgot to extend that all the way out so it wouldn't match up with the floor above it, and I wanted it to, so I had to fix that. And then I got to work on the goalposts, or the field goalpost. I've never built one of these before, and the scale is low-key difficult to build. You'll see that I do it like really wrong at first, so just ignore that. Because I go back right now and I fix it and I make it how it's actually supposed to be in real life. Oh, I guess that was a little too long. Cut it down and restart. Anyways, I line all these edges up using the transform tool. And once they're all lined up, I'm able to place the rest of the stuff and make it look pretty realistic, I'd say. It's also like a struggle to find the colors because I feel like every photo that I see has a different, like the lighting is super different. So that just makes the colors just all completely different. So that was another like tough thing about this, but honestly, after all, it wasn't so bad, and I didn't really have any other trouble with it. So yeah, it was actually pretty good. Copy and pasted the goalpost to the other side. And then we're going to work on our second level seating. I think I do kind of zoom through this a bit because it's pretty much the same process as the first one. You just have to make it on a higher level. but I did switch up the way it looked, and I used the bigger chairs just because I think it would be nice to have like just a little bit of chair diversity, I guess. But we're gonna add these in. I'm trying to make all these levels pretty much how they would be in the actual build, but I'm not sure how well that goes. Anyways, now we're gonna start working on getting this upper level seating all copy and pasted in. And let's see, it was a kind of hard process to determine where exactly I should put them, because especially on the curves, they were not perfect at all. And I knew I didn't really have like an option to like make them perfect, just because it was already kind of difficult with my friend, by the way. Oh, I forgot to mention, my friend reached out and was like, oh, can I help you with the outside of it? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, I got you. And it turned out amazing. So thank you, shout out to Kotak for the help on the exterior. And anyways, they were making the exterior like the shape of it just because I wanted to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible. Almost got it out to you guys yesterday, which was Thursday, but you guys are seeing this on Friday, hopefully, if you're a real one. But yeah, making the shape was so impossible. Like, I'm not sure how Kotak even did it. It honestly, it looks really good for Bloxburg, in my opinion. So if you disagree, just keep it to yourself, gang. Like, we don't even care. Anyways, I did want to add some little details. I'm not sure what the inside of the stadium looks like at all. I know it's like kind of modern, and I'm not sure how you get into the stadium, because like that's just a whole nother process. But at the end of the day, this is Bloxburg. I can't really do all of that. I definitely tried. I added like a little reception area and whatnot, even though people would really get their tickets like online. Like, I don't even think you would be able to get tickets if you just showed up in person. I mean, you probably could, but they probably wouldn't be good. Especially definitely not to the Super Bowl. But hey, it's all right. And the final details here, Caesars Stadium has these lights kind of at the roof, which are so sick, and they looked so nice in the build, so I had to recreate them. And I think that's pretty much the final detail. Yeah, let's get into a short little tour. So this is the little entrance kind of ticket area I was talking about. It did turn out really, really nice, but I don't know. I just don't know if this is what it actually looks like. So who knows, but moving on, we've got the stadium in here, as you can see, with all these chairs, all the decals in there. And yeah, that's gonna be all for today, guys. I'll see you later.